Hi, I'm Jenna Guerin. Today is July 21st, 2020, and I'm going to be talking through the cardiovascular system. So, to start off, we have the atria. We've seen this and this that receive blood while relaxed, and then they contract to move the blood into the ventricles. So, the right atrium, right here, receives blood from the vena cava and pumps it into the right ventricle here, which will then be pumped into the main pulmonary artery. Then we have the left atrium, which receives blood from the pulmonary circulation, pumps it into the left ventricle, which will then pump the blood out into the aorta, and that will distribute throughout the rest of the body. Then we have over here is the inferior vena cava, which carries the deoxygenated blood from the lower half of the body to the right atrium, and then the superior vena cava carries the deoxygenated blood from the upper half of the body into the right atrium. Then we have the pulmonary artery right here, which is going to deliver the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. And then if we look here, the lungs are located right next to the heart. In this diagram, it just shows them a little separate. But the the pulmonary arteries carry the deoxygenated blood into the lungs, which then splits off into smaller arteries and arterioles, and then capillaries. And within the capillaries, there's exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Then once the blood is oxygenated, it travels through the venules into the pulmonary vein, which is going to bring the blood back to the heart, to the left atrium, then into the left ventricle to then be pumped through the aorta, and that will distribute throughout the rest of the body. So one thing that I thought was helpful was to remember that veins are always going to carry blood to the heart, and arteries are always going to carry blood away from the heart. Then we have within the heart, there are these different valves. So these are the semilunar valves, which prevent backflow of blood from the arteries to the ventricles, and it also maintains the pressure on the arteries. Then we have the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve. So you can see the two, since this valve has two structures here, that's the bicuspid valve, and this valve also prevents backflow. So when the left atrium fills, the valve will open so the blood can flow into the left ventricle, and then the valve will close so blood cannot backflow up into the left atrium. Then over here we have the tricuspid valve, which essentially has the same function, but with the right atrium and right ventricle. So when the right atrium fills, the tricuspid valve opens, then closes to prevent any backflow of blood from the right ventricle.